Yeah, you can see now.
My dad taught me religiously to change the oil in my car every 3,000 miles. Now, I don't have to worry about that because my car tells me when to change the oil. Sort of like that. With the V22, there's a couple of parts that take a long time to essentially switch out. If you can forecast when those are going to fail, and you have the V22, if you look in the garage, back to our car analogy, you can basically save a whole lot of maintenance time by doing two things at once.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Todd. And it'll be interesting to see how artificial intelligence continues to play a big role for militaries globally.
Forecast when maintenance is needed.
All right.
So I'd liken it to.
All right. Okay. I just missed that shot. If you notice earlier, there was a graphical about the chopper. So actually, that industry is helping the armed forces to check where is the problem in the chopper, so that this actually help to reduce human errors. And this can actually be employed not only for armed forces, it can be used during the flight for normal Boeing 747 and so on. So basically on the next slide, just before we end, I'm sure in armed forces, we have warehouse. And people would say, what is so hard about warehouse? Warehouse, keeping a stock and restocking them and also to check on the stock, it is quite a hassle job. It will take a lot of time. But this is in China. They are actually using a robot to make sure their warehouse are in order. I'll just show a 2-second or 3-second how the robot works. All right, as you can see, it is AI, and we just visited China, and what you saw was Alibaba's Industrial Revolution. If you know Alibaba, that is their warehouse. You don't see people actually, you saw robots. That's how it keeps things. So last but not least, this is AI in defense industry. Just
weapons of warfare are becoming increasingly sophisticated to target themselves using artificial intelligence. The Pentagon is spending billions of times and take cues from a human pilot in another aircraft, just as if a real wingman were there.
Can you see the picture right now? Do you see anybody in the cockpit? Actually, this is an autonomous fighter jet. So there is... I would like to thank all of you for your time and attention, but I would like to add in some informations. As we were discussing earlier on the matter of on the matter of South China Sea, actually using AI, we can also do geofencing. What I will do is, I have the video, but I do not want to share it now because of the bandwidth. I didn't want to disrupt our learning session. So I will share with Dr. Adi later on. By using AI, we can actually introduce geofencing. By introducing geofencing, we are actually taking care of managing our natural resources, which is the fisheries, oil rig, so that we don't have illegal immigrant fishermen. For an example, in South China Sea, maybe in Selat Sulawesi or Selat Sunda, we also have Philippines fishermen. We also have Vietnam's fishermen. We also do have China's armed forces navy vessels there. So if we are practicing AI, we can do a drone, we can use the drone. Okay, what we see is the AI right now is not in 100% human form. When you talk about sensors, it's like eyes, ears, nose, and everything, but not attached to the head yet. And then we have another part, we have IoTs, like as I said, drones, and then we have, that is like the chest, and then we have unarmed vehicles, these are leg. But when you put everything together, With AI acting as a brain, the artificial intelligence can access the drone to get information on what is happening in South China Sea. Who are the fishermen, or what is happening? So all these things can be used just not only to manage our natural resources, but to efficiently manage our defense resource, and also to effectively save life, and also to take care of our precious armed forces life. With that, I would like to thank you for your time and attention. I end my side of sharing. I would like to hear from you all, and let's have some discussion. If I can take some of your doubts, if I can answer at my very best knowledge, I will do it. If I can't, because I'm a human being, if I can't get to answer the question right away, I will take note. We will email you back and we'll get you another session of answers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Moderator, Dr. Adi. Thank you very much, participant. I hope I did not bore you with my blah, blah, blahs. I hope I have inspired you because I saw you participant comes from very background.
Yeah.
Various background. You have defense students, management students, we have energy security students. So I'm sure AI is like a watch. AI is like a smartphone. Regardless of you are a management student, you are an energy security student, you have to use AI. AI can be used, since you have energy security student, I would like to, because energy is my field, energy is my passion, energy is my blood. So we can actually use AI just to check when is the highest demand, where is the supply coming from, how can we use this in smart grid, can we integrate renewable energy into the grid, because we need to understand having renewable energy into the grid is not simple, because the national grid is using AC. The renewable energy normally produces DC, and then if we can change it using inverter, we need to make sure it synchronizes the frequency before we injecting it to the grid. One small wrong into the grid, it can collapse the entire grid, and this happens in Malaysia in 1998. But it was not due to the renewable energy sources. It was due to one generator went off grid. So with that, I thank you so much. Dr. Adi, I back to you. I'll do my best to entertain you more. Thank you.
Thank you for entertaining us, Mr. Suresh. Thank you for sharing. Your presentation was very nice, excellent, about the artificial intelligence in defense resource management. I got some keywords here, such as blockchain, and especially in the whole conclusion, AI assisting us with the human with the new model of the civilization. Now we enter the question and answer session. Please be noticed that Mr. Suresh, that we have 3 graduate study program here in our faculty of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University, which are Defense Management, Defense Economic, and the Energy Security graduate program. And also, I would like to welcome the student from UPNM to participate in the discussion and Q&A. Before the student or the floor address the question, please introduce briefly your name and institution and address the question shortly due to the time limitation. Maybe we can start from the chat box here. Actually, I prepared 2 questions for you, but I can ask you later on after. The first questions coming from Mr. Ahmad Fidura from Energy Security Graduate Program. Maybe Mr. Ahmad want to ask directly, please.
Yeah, thank you, moderator, and thank you for Mr. Suresh for the great presentation. Uh, My name is Ahmad Fidra from Energy Security Program. My question is, the advanced level of artificial intelligence is swarm intelligence, which brings not only about autonomous intelligence, but also have a team intelligence to get work together. And my question is, how is the development of swarm intelligence in Malaysia, especially in defense industry? Maybe you can give an example about marine swarm intelligence, such as swarm SUV or swarm AUV. Thank you, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Sorry, Mr. Suresh, I forgot to mention. For the first session, I would like to give uh, opportunity for three questions. Please, two other more. Maybe Mr. Suryo. Before you answer the question, Mr. Suresh, I would like to collect other two
Oh, okay.
participants. So you can answer in one time.
All right.
Mr. Suryo from defense economic.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, Mr. Suresh, for the great presentation. My name is Suryo from the Economic Defense Study Program. I want to ask the short question. How can AI reduce the military expense in Malaysia? Can you show me the example based on your experience, sir? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suryo. And one more, Mr. Herdayatama from Defense Management Graduate Program. Please welcome.
Thank you for the chance that given to me. Good morning, moderator and speaker. My name is Hardaya Tama from Advanced Management Study Program. I want to ask a question. Does the government of Malaysia cooperate to open up opportunities for cooperation with foreign country in managing artificial resource for defense? Because understanding dual use of technology, this AI can be used for our benefit, but in other hand, it can be a threat too. Maybe it's related to cyber attack. Thank you.
Okay, three advanced questions. Please, Mr. Suresh.
May God bless me, Dr. Adi. I love all your questions. I'm so grateful for what you have asked, have required. For Mr. Ahmad, I believe this is the question, how Malaysia is utilizing AI technology for the swamp, swamp algorithm, I believe. Swamp algorithm on UAV and USV, unarmed vehicle or unarmed submerged vehicles. Okay, Mr. Ahmad, I answered the question tadi?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ahmad, I would like not to disappoint you with my answers, but definitely the technology, because we are developing countries. So ASEAN countries, Malaysia we are actually embarking on the journey of the research for the swarm based of unarmed vehicles and submarine vehicle. I am very sorry. Thank you for your understanding that I'm unable to show any example, but definitely there is in the market UAV and USV using the swarm. So this technology can be actually used to actually to pinpoint if there is an underwater mine, underwater mine bomb, or even underwater infiltration. So currently, we are just embarking on the policy setup. As Mr. Ahmad, I think Dr. Adi also know, in any country, before we embarking on the purchasing of any system, because UAV with the AI, USV with the AI, it is very costly. So when it comes to managing either way, we will definitely take the neutral path and to reduce the cost. So currently we don't have at the moment, but we have for normal usage. That means under the education, we are working on this. So I hope that answers your question, Sir Ahmad. And then Mr. Ahmad, if my answers disappoint you, I'm so sorry. But I'm actually looking forward. Actually, we have, I do not know, Dr. Adi, know UniKL? Have you heard University KL? University Kuala Lumpur, UniKL, Dr. Adi?
Yeah, it's a private university, I think.
Actually, yes. They have for marine, they have a marine section. So currently our university, stirred by Dr. Abu, we are having engaging the research together with them. Just actually 2 weeks ago, we are engaging with them. So we are trying to build our own USV, including with that AI technology lah. So I'm involved on that side. So that's what I can tell for the status. And for Mr. I believe Suryo.
Rio.
Yeah, Mr. Suryo asked how AI technology can reduce cost. Mr. Suryo, let's say I give an example. I believe all of us goes to mass for there's mass, right, Otadi? Okay, that's mass. Have you actually ever seen the food wastages in mass? Because sometimes they have cooked, but the demand, the person that goes and eat is very little, and there is sometimes they cook less, the person that goes and eat is a lot. So actually, this is one example how AI can actually characterize the food demand and supply, and the AI can advise the chief cook how much to cook and how much can it be done. So this is one of the way how AI can reduce cost. And before that, AI also can reduce cost by actually, if you notice, I do not know, Mr. Suryo, I believe in Indonesia, we also have a lot of Army's Jeep. If you notice, Army's Jeep is actually using all Malaysian, Indonesian, Asian countries. Mostly our Army's Jeep are using fossil fuel, right? All right. So with the AI installed in this Army Jeep, we can actually see how much carbon emission has been done, how and where is these Army Jeeps are going. Are they being misused? So when we have AI tracking them and so on, these kind of extra expenses can be reduced. And we can introduce the next fuel. In US, they are using hydrogen fuel. But Dr. Adi and for all the participants, in ASEAN countries, Malaysia, especially Indonesia, I am very sure India is buying the palm oil from Indonesia in tons. Do you know that from palm oil, we can, the husk and also the effluent of the palm oil, we can create biodiesel. So with AI technology, we can, for management side, we can bring this data, we can convince our generals, our politicians that instead of using fossil fuel, why not we use biodiesel? So these are some of the example how AI actually can reduce cost. All right. And then AI also can be used in what we call in management of economy managements, because AI can predict when to buy. Okay, for an example, there is a in the Europe there is one refrigerator currently in the market in Europe. That refrigerator can be connected to your smartphone, and you can authorize the refrigerator to check whether there's enough milk, when is it expiring, does it need to do the order. So just the same technology can be applied to the armed forces, because armed forces, there are a lot of human beings. So there's a lot of food wastage, as I said. So this AI can be used to track when is the vegetables or the wet things are expiring, how long has it been there, and when is the next purchase need to be done. With this, we can reduce cost. Definitely, we can reduce cost. AI, if anybody have used Big Pay card, do I have? All right, I do not know if you have this. This is a credit card, but it's a debit card. It's known as Big Pay. This is given by AirAsia. We have apps here. Do you know that it uses AI just to track what is your expenditures? Are you expending more on entertainment, paying Netflix more? or are you using to pay bill water more, electricity more? So just imagine AI can advise. Armed forces have a huge base, right? Armed forces are having a huge base. So Dr. Suryo, for your question, just imagine AI is being given to check what are the utility bills, how much of money has been used to pay electricity, how much money is being used for water. So with AI can advise to just when there is nobody to shut off the light to reduce the cost, when the pipe is automatically can be shut off when there's nobody in the bathroom. So all these things can reduce cost. For the third, I hope I answered your question, Mr. Suryo.
Yeah, I think comprehensively
Okay.
answered.
Yes.
How about
Thank you,
the
the
third?
great
The
answer,
third
sir.
question. Oh, thank you so much. And the third question is Mr. Herda. Mr. Herda.
Yatama.
Yes. I'm please again. Thank you for understanding. I couldn't pronounce the name fully. Mr. Herda asked on the how open is Malaysia towards the collaboration with the
Foreign country.
outsiders, with the private
Yes.
sector. As I told Mr. Ahmad earlier, AI strategy is just being created. That means AI, since Industry Revolution 4.0 came, the first strategy was on the education sector. So education sector has been made the first priority for Malaysian to embark on the journey. So defense sector is coming next in line. So for time being, there is not yet, for my very best knowledge, there is not yet any collaboration with the private sector. And I believe when we have collaboration with private sector, the cyber security issues will be there. You are absolutely correct, Mr. Herda. And due to that, Malaysia have two units. One unit that looks for the civilian, like a police, we known as Cyber Security Malaysia, and another unit that works within the armed forces is last time is known as Regiments Boyan Diraja 95, 95 Signal Regiment, Royal Malaysian Regiment. Right now they have upgraded from the Semboyan. Semboyan means signal communication. They have upgraded to the 99 Cyber Security. Pusat Keselamatan Cyber 99. Yeah, so we are embarking right now on that. We are actually training many armed forces. We have sent them to study abroad, and we also have in UPNM we also have a master's and PhD course in cybersecurity. So it is in pipeline. So I hope I have answered on your question, Mr. Herda.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Suresh.
It's just that Mr. Ahmad, I'm so sorry to disappoint you. I'm sure I love to be the first to try out that UAV, but on my side, I also have an undergraduate student which uses Arduino. It's not AI actually, but we are trying to get students to be, undergraduate study student to be with the technology. So we did a life-saving 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 buoy, but controlled by remote control. Anyway, thank you. So back to you, Dr. Adi.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. We have a second session now. We open to 3 questions. I think the first question coming from your student, Muhammad Amin Syafiq bin Syahrin from UPNM. Maybe you can open.
All right, thank you, your moderator, and this is Suresh. I'm your student. Okay, the question is, morning everyone. My name is Muhammad Amin Syafiq bin Syahrin from National Defence University Malaysia. I have a question. Is it possible that artificial intelligence will be fully adapted in the future, meaning it will be part in our life, or even possible AI technology in our body itself, like smartphone, for example, and the using of AI in the military operation or method of warfare? If that's so, what happens if the AI or supercomputer will overtake the military? Is it the end of humanity, or it can be countered by destroying the AI system itself? Thank you, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you, Mr. Amin. Oh, sorry, Dr. Abu, I interrupted you. Please carry on.
No, it's okay. Thank you, Mr. Amin. We have a second question here. Ms. Ike Yesi Widowati from Defense Management Graduate Program student. Please, Ike.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, moderator, and thank you, Mr. Suresh. This is a good opportunity for me to interaction with you, Mr. Suresh. I am Ike Widowati from Defense Management Study Program. My question, how does the Malaysia government carry out an early arrangement of artificial resources to support country defense system? Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Ike. The third question is half Malay, Sumatran people, Sumatran girl, Miss Tin Norma Hapsari from Defense Economic Graduate Program. Please, Miss Tin.
Thank you, moderator. Good afternoon, sir. It's really nice to see you by Zoom, and I think it's a great time for us. I mean, for all of students here to discuss, especially about EI. But I already text my question. I have two questions, and I already text in inbox. Before I ask you about the question, is it possible for me to ask you about procurement?
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. For the first question, I want to ask you about defense acquisition. In Indonesia, I read book. The book is created by Dr. Zainal Abidin. He is one lecturer in Indonesia Defense University too, and he is also my supervisor for my thesis. Actually, I got some information on that book. He said that for implementing defense acquisition is costly and time consuming. And as an illustration, defense acquisition at least require the following cost and time. For example, there are four stages: research, development, production, and use. For research, we need 1% of the total cost for the 3 years. And for the development, we need 9% for the total cost. We need 5 years. And then for production stage, we need 30% of the total cost for 2 years. And the last in use stage, we need 60% for 15 years. It means that for one equipment, defense equipment, I mean, we need less than 25 years. So my question is, how can Malaysia control cost and time for one defense equipment? And how is the recognition for the elimination of assets, I mean, one defense equipment that are no longer used based on regulation in Malaysia? I think it's only one question, but I have still second question.
Please.
Okay, I will continue. The second question, in Indonesia, we have BPPT, or what we call Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology in Indonesia. And it showed that the result of SWOT, trying witness, opportunities, and trade study led the Indonesian government for the formulate a national artificial intelligence strategy into 4 areas. I mean, namely, there are ethnic and policy, talent development, infrastructure and data, and the last industrial research and innovation. But in addition to the focus areas, the Indonesian government has established 5 priority areas for the success of the missions of Indonesian National Strategy for EI. There are health services, bureaucratic reform, education and research, food security, mobility, and smart cities, or what we call mobil dan kota pintar. I don't know, in Malaysia, there is the same statement as the same word like that or not. But my question is, how does in Malaysia, is there institution that set regulation in Malaysia? And could you explain more or give the example initiative program in AI in Malaysia? I think that's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tin. Actually, the second question is actually pointed to me because I I want a national committee to develop the national strategy for Indonesia artificial intelligence, which is 2020 up to 2045. I will show you the document later. Please, Mr. Suresh, to answer the question from the first student.
Dr. Adi, thank you all for the questions. I think the first question was from our student in UPNM, Mr. Amin, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Amin, before that, what program are you in? Lupa bagi nama.
I'm in strategic studies
I
in
see.
UPNM.
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Just needed to know which program are you in, because normally I recognize all my students from my faculty. So I didn't recognize you. I'm worried because that I make a point that I know all my students by eyes and everything. So anyway, Mr. Amin, that was a question from you regarding about AI. I think Dr. Adi, can you just help me to? I think it's about AI into human being, right? Incorporated into human beings.
We can read in the chat box. First is how to adapt it the AI in the future, meanings for the technology itself, like smartphone, the using of military operation method, and the supercomputer overtake the military operation.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Amin, thank you so much for the interesting question. Actually, this question is a very debatable question. We can even have a debate topic on this question. First and foremost, you cannot deny AI anymore. AI will be every part. Would you like to know that there is an idea that is going back in my mind that we should incorporate small microchips into our body, so the next time there is a COVID-19 or anything, these microchips can tell what is the body reaction, what is the immunity level, and so on. So AI will be incorporated in our life, just like last time we had watch on our wrist. So you cannot deny. And then there was a project that I did in 2015 or 16 that actually we have a watch. That wearable is now famous, but during those days it was not so famous. That it will tell what is the pulse rate when there is elderly people all alone in their house. When the pulse rate is not a proper manner, it will automatically contact the authority and the emergency person to come and save the elderly person who is all alone in the house. And we also have the same tracking system that we did for people do not get lost, because in Malaysia there's a lot of mountain hikers that like to go to hike mountain and get lost, lose their way. So we have that. Mr. Amin, we cannot deny AI anymore. AI is the future, and AI will be incorporated in our life, and there is a possible of incorporating AI into our body and organ system. Yet it is debatable, because we have people talking about ethics in AI, because AI, we need to think, and we not we in Malaysia, not we in ASEAN, even at the global level, there is a group working on the ethical of AI. I believe, as we all are talking, and I believe Dr. Adi, who did the framework of AI for the country, we need to come up with the AI legislation and rules in which area AI can be implemented and which area we need to leave the AI out. Because as much as we are connected to smartphone and online, did you notice that your privacy of your life privacy has been taken off from you? Slowly and slowly, your life's privacy is being invaded by the artificial intelligence. So definitely, Mr. Amin, what you have highlighted is a good thing. For the researchers outside there, we need to come up with the policies and rules and regulation, not only for AI, but also for drones. Not only for drones, but also for US underwater submersive vehicles, unarmed vehicles. We need to come out as an ASEAN country because we are the ZOFAN area. We are the zone of peace and neutrality. I think as ASEAN, we need to sit down. We need to think about the rules and regulation of AI's application. But Mr. Amin, you cannot deny AI technology. And on the question of whether the AI through supercomputer and quantum computing, will it be able to take over human? To tell you the truth, while I was preparing this slide, that was the nightmare that I had. That was the same nightmare. So I was thinking, how can I shut them off if this happens? So basically, we have programmings. That means we have programmers at the back end. We can actually deactivate them by using a virus, or we also have another one. We try to disengage their power system because our power comes from our soul and nature, but they are artificial intelligence. They are powered by the renewable energy, electricity, battery. So all these things actually have impulse. What do we say that? They have impulse, so we can use IMP method to disengage them or to put them at the rest. IMPs, one of the good example of IMP, if you watch Transformer, when the transformer come and hit the base with IMP, all the power supply done. So that can be done. And I mean, yes, there must be a variable. They can be embedded into our skin and our system, but yet it is debatable in ethical wise, and in biological, it is still, we have to still think about it. Because just imagine somebody using AI pacemaker. Everybody know pacemaker, right? Just imagine they are using AI pacemaker so that we don't, because heart organ, we cannot simply, take out and then take the chip, you do maintenance and then you put it back. No. So the pacemaker will be there into the person's heart being implemented for 20, 30 years. So the battery need to work 20, 30 years. The program need to work 20, 30 years. But you just imagine if the AI being given a time that people can hack into and people play with your heart rate. People can make you kill. So these are the things that we need to look into the matters. So Mr. Amin, I believe I've answered your doubts.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. It's a very good answer, actually.
Thank you. We are sharing the same knowledge. Thanks a lot. I believe the second question came from Dr. Adi. Please help me.
Miss Ika Yesi Widowati, she asked about how does the Malaysian government carry out the early arrangement of artificial resources to support a country defense system?
All right. Thank you for the question. Miss, what I can tell you right now is AI is, we have strategic planning on AI. Defense sector is included, but the way how Malaysia worked was the grant was given. The research grants are given to public universities, private universities to venture into AI. So that's how we came into geofencing, using geofencing. But to fully incorporate AI into the system of Malaysian defense, we still have a long way to go. And then another answer I can give to you, the implementation of, I told you, the cyber security unit 99 in Camp Sungai Besi, just nearby to our university, is one of the early initiative of the government to include cyber security first. If you notice, the strategic is a little bit different. In other countries, there will be AI first, cybersecurity comes second. But in our country, we bring in cybersecurity first. We make sure the network, the centric network that built behind is secured using AI and so on. Then only we will be bringing in the other equipments, other IoT equipments like future soldier programs, and also the drone thing. So I hope I answered that question, Miss.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And then the third question from Ms. Tin. I
Mhm.
think I summarized the first question is about the procurement. How the Malaysian government do the procurement system? Do you implement the AI for the procurements and also adapted the technology, especially the defense technology?
Thank you so much, Ms. Tin, on the question. Ms. Tin, I can only answer this question to my very level best because I'm only involved in the procurement of universities' product. On the defense sector procurement, I have not involved myself in as I'm a civilian. But I can tell to my very best knowledge. What I can tell is procurement, yes, I totally agree, Ms. Tin. Procurement ni sakit kepala. Let me tell in Malay language, memang sakit kepala. It's a big headache because we need to match the budget, but with the highest technical. It's like you want to hire a great engineer, you want to hire Einstein, but you are willing to pay. Hello? Yes?
Yes. No problem with the connection.
No problem, right? Miss Tin, is it
No problem.
okay? Can you
Okay.
hear?
Yes.
Your voice, sir.
Can, right? Okay. So basically in Malaysia, procurement strategy, as I was telling you, we always have procurement people because I was involved in the university's educational procurements. So definitely we have a big evaluation. First, you have to open for tender. Opening tender means you have to beforehand, you have to specify all the specification. What are your requirements? And then you have to publish in the newspaper in order that we have a clean, no bribery, clean government. We have to publish the requirements, open tender, and then we have to wait until 1 month, and then we have to get all the documents, and the department will take, and then they will do anonymous tagging, and then they will give for technical spec review. The technical spec review have to review on the technology. Is it latest? Is it low? Is it a good technology? Is it robust? All these things, and then we have to submit a report, and then there will be another thing known as financial evaluators. They will evaluate the value of the thing. Is it match? And then I totally agree, Ms. Tin, but just imagine if all these things can be done by supercomputer, by AI, we just need to put in the data. These are my requirements. Just imagine, instead of we waiting, the AI can go and find who is the best in the market, and then it can suggest to us. And then we can call them for presentation. Isn't this not only cost cutting, but isn't this time saving for you? What's your opinion, Ms. Tin?
Criteria for which priority?
Yeah, because AI can be used to set up the criteria, the prior criteria, the beginning criteria. AI have the information of what are the technology being used, what are the equipments. You just imagine. I need you to imagine because I don't have that system to show you. So you have to use imagination. Just imagine all the criteria, the technical spec, you are fed it into AI. Oh, I give an example. If you have Shopee in Indonesia, I believe you all have, or even Lazada in Indonesia. So in Shopee, you just press maybe Miss Tin would like to buy a laptop. Great, a laptop. Just imagine. Normally, what happens if I want to buy a laptop before Shopee, Lazada, online AI came in, I will go to Plaza Lawiat in Bukit Bintang. So there's a lot of shop. I will go and collect brochures and brochures and brochures. You know what I'll do? I'll take all the brochure, I mark pricing first. Is it using AMD technology or is it using Intel chip? And then is it using NVIDIA graphic card or is it using Radeon graphic card? So all these things you are using papers. Can you believe how long will it take? But just imagine you go to Shopee, you just press laptop, you just press Intel, straight it gives you. You can make a comparison. So can you see now how AI can help you, Miss Tin?
When we decide to, as like your explanation, when we decide to buy laptop, I think, especially for me, I want to buy laptop with the color pink. So
Yes,
yes,
yes.
the color is the first, I think, and then the price, and then the technology.
Exactly.
The first, the more important thing is the memory.
Yes.
How to say, RAM in English.
RAM, hard
Yeah,
disk,
yeah,
disk
hard disk.
RAM.
Yes.
So basically, you can input this into, even if you don't use Shopee, you can go to Google, you can put that, you use AND. You know, right? AND, because when you tell AND to the Google, do you know what happened at the back end? The back end logic gate AND will function. Even when you are finding research papers, if you are finding artificial AI in defense, you won't get it. You press AI and then you use and defense. And then the AI behind the Google Scholar will find all the papers that related to. So in fact, while you are studying, you are using AI. Mr. Amin, you cannot run away from AI already. Even for your dissertation, when you're doing research, you are using AI. So basically, it's the same thing. You can use AI by commanding and this pink color and RAM, maybe 8 gig or 32 gig RAM, and then SATA drive, or USB Type C. When you put, it will find for you instead of you going through one shop by one shop, collecting, these kind of papers and not green enough lah today. I also printed papers. So anyway, so I hope I have answered Miss Tin's your question.
Yeah, request, sir. How about my second question?
What was it? Sorry. Excuse me.
Because I asked about the condition in Malaysia.
On the procurement section or on AI?
Not. That's the second question, sir.
Okay.
National strategy of artificial intelligence in Malaysia.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Tadi. I'm lost, Miss Tin. Then I forgot what I want to talk. Sorry. All right. On the AI of Malaysian National Technology, we have Malaysian IR 4.0 national framework. So under the national framework, we have AI. We also have 3D printers, 3D printings, IoTs. All these are coming into AI, and we are also under the MOSTI, Malaysian Science, Technology, Innovation Ministry, also giving out research grant, also giving out startup grant. For the private sector, what the government does, they also give SME digitalization grant. So they encourages companies, digital companies, innovation companies, to embark with this new product to promote their product. At the same time, during COVID-19, many of them could not go and get businesses. So what the government did, the government changed small, medium enterprise. When we talk small, medium enterprise, if last time we used to go out, beli nasi lemak tepi jalan, the hawkers, right? We go and buy nasi lemak, we buy kuih, kuih Lopez, kuih Cekodoks, all this. But right now, the government have give them small grant using Shopee. So they are actually having their shop on Shopee. So the AI comes under the Malaysian digitalization framework. So we have the policies, the implementations are on the way, but definitely due to COVID-19 and other pressing matters, we are there is a little bit hiccups, but no matter what, the implementation of AI is coming straight down to the people, to the rakyat first. We are also having AI for classrooms. We have artificial intelligence classrooms. We also have short courses to educate people on that. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your answer.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Miss Tin?
Yeah, I think it's enough, moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Tin. I just thinking about the. I just want to extend a bit about the question of Ms. Tin. How do you think, Mr. Suresh, about the when you make the procurement system for the defense technology in Malaysia? Just imagine if you do the procurement system based on the artificial intelligence for defense technology in Malaysia. Will you put the geopolitics and geostrategy as the one of the criteria to the learning system of the artificial neural network? Since that we not only put the technology specification on the criteria for this learning system, but also we have to put the geopolitics status, how you make the weighting, pembobotan in the system.
All right, thank you, Dr. Adi. I am actually very delightful that you have actually suggested a very big point, Dr. Adi. Actually, this point I actually forgot during my presentation. Thank you, Dr. Adi. See, everybody need to know geopolitical. Geopolitical is the biggest thing. Just imagine, we are having conflict at South China Sea. And the best part is procurement. Now everything comes from China, isn't it? They say iPhone, you turn it back, made in China. They will say Intel, Pentium, Microsoft Office, anything, but behind is made in China. Just imagine, if you do not consider geopolitical when you're making the procurement during any conflicts, don't you think the manufacturer that lives in China exactly knows what are your armed forces weaponry system?
Exactly.
So it makes our country and our people vulnerable to attacks. I am not telling that there will be an attack, but what I'm trying to say is, let's have a discussion, let's have thinking. That is why when you are asking this question, Doctor, when you are raising this question, Dr. D, I was thinking, why should we even buy? Why should we even buy from these people if we can actually have universities and collaborators overseas? Why not we build our own? So that would be the best, because I noticed this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I like to follow President Jokowi's Instagram. So I am very impressed at the rate how Indonesia can build their own ship. Am I wrong? But I saw one Instagram because President Jokowi actually inaugurated the ship in, I couldn't remember kat mana, where, but I still remember he inaugurated. So I can see Indonesia as a maritime country, they are producing their own ship vessel. Is it correct, Dr. Adi?
Yes.
So if that can be done, probably as ASEAN countries, we need to keep our zone as a peace and neutral keeping zone. Why not? The vessel comes from Indonesia, and the other resources, maybe the cyber security, the AI backend comes from Malaysia. Maybe the weaponry system comes from Singapore. Maybe the funding can come from King of Brunei. So, I believe that as educators, instead of we hoping the government to think for this, maybe we can put up a research grant on thinking on how to make ASEAN as a defense economy sector. That means we build our own system, because currently Malaysia's weaponry system, as far as I'm concerned, is bought from France. Turkey has been reviewed, and from France mainly, most of it.
Even you are the Commonwealth, you buy most of the weapon from France.
France. Normally it's France, because I remember France a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of defense acquisition was also made from France, to my very best knowledge. And I like that when you put up about the Commonwealth country, because I was thinking about this when I was doing this slide. I think Indonesia has also the issue about conflict at the South China Sea. I do not know about the participant. Do you aware that we have Spratly Islands? Actually, ocean bed, if you want to know, the ocean bed actually moves. That means the ocean rise and sunk. And when the ocean sunk, there will be mana nak cakap batu karang, coral reefs. Yes, coral reefs. There will be coral reefs. So this coral reef, China will come and build their base. So just imagine if we have AI system and we have AI's artificial intelligence drone system above from sea, because even satellite imaginary will take some time to process due to the distance. Due to the distance orbit from the Earth, satellite images will take some time to process. But just imagine we have swarm drones, apa nama? Surveillance system. So the swarm drone surveillance system is a real-time monitoring. So the moment you have Spratly Island, the coral reef submerged from Earth, why don't you land a drone and put your country's flag before the South Chinese vessel come and claim the land? So these are my ideas, Dr. Adi. I hope I have answered your doubts.
It's very interesting discussion actually, but we have plenty of questions from the student.
Oh, okay.
The third session, we open another 3 questions. The first from Mr. Khalid Marshall bin Harun. I think he's Malaysian. Maybe you can open the screen. Or he.
Hello, good afternoon to Mr. Munir and Mr. Suresh.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's like lagging a bit, but doesn't matter. Carry on. If we cannot get, we will ask you.
Okay. As we AI is typically high cost to develop, right?
Yes.
So my question is, how is there any ways to develop it using without using a huge cost?
Okay, there is a way.
Or huge budget.
Yes, understood.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid. And the second question from Mr. Tri Ambodo from Defense Management Graduate Program. Please, Mr. Tri Ambodo.
Thank you very much, moderator. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Suresh.
Good afternoon.
I have one question about the artificial intelligence. According to the explanation that artificial intelligence is like a baby who cannot talk, the question is already as big as whether the baby or artificial intelligence is growing in Malaysia. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Triambodo. And the third question from Muhtar Rifai from Defense Economic student. Please. Muhtar Rifai is around. Or I will read okay. He's here. Okay. Should I read your question, Mr. Rifai? Is that okay? Mr. Rifai asked about in the postmodern era, technology and information are developing very rapidly and affecting people's life and cultures. In addition to the positive impact, I think artificial intelligence as a threat from a multidimensional non-military side. Many games, online, and social media applications are created to have a psychological impact on people in some countries, and this may be a moral colonization because it causes a cultural shift. What is your opinion, Mr. Suresh, and how does Malaysian defense policy to respond it? I think we have 3 questions here.
All right.
You can answer one by one or collective.
Yeah, one by one, Dr. Adi. Dr. Adi, the first question was about cost of the AI, right?
Yes, exactly, cost.
All right. Mr. Khalid, actually, it's very true. This cost of AI is a huge cost. That is the reason when we were looking into the slide when I showed about AI progress in the global, have you noticed AI have sprung so far? The baby AI has been walking and running. Actually, there's another video that I didn't show you. Can you believe AI? Can anyone tell me where was AI first introduced? Let me enlighten you all. AI was first introduced to the people or to the citizen of the world is through Hollywood. You might be very surprised. If you can remember the movie Avatar, the green color, not the young Avatar that can bend water and no, the other Avatar, the blue color Avatar, when something they just jack here and they'll be in the other dimension. All that was used AI. I was watching a YouTube video whereby the Hollywood movie producer, the producer actually are talking to AI baby, a real human baby, but in an AI form. Just like how I'm talking to you, my face reaction, everything is also captured by the AI. So AI is growing very huge. And it's a very high costly, yes, true. That is the reason why the ASEAN countries, the developing countries and underdeveloped country has not been able to catch up. But the developed countries, the APEC, G8 countries, these countries are very well. Japan, China, Korea, Europe countries, UK, US, they are very well aware because they have a huge budget can be allocated. What I'm trying to say, these are the challenges. But for your question that you asked, is it possible to create AI at an affordable rate? The same question was asked 10 years ago towards solar technology. If anybody remember, solar technology was very long time ago introduced. But have you all noticed, currently, as the technology improves, the material of the solar is being affordable and the kilowatt hour for the solar cells to be produced for kilowatt hours cost is reduced, hence it caught up. So Mr. Khalid, there is a way will come as we find new materials. For your information, there is something that we actually overlooked during AI. Remember, AI needed supercomputing, quantum computing. This actually geographically will have an impact in ASEAN countries and the Equator countries. If you see the global just now I showed, did you notice all the countries that fully develop AI are above the equator line? Not below, not during the equator line, above the equator lines. Why? Because even in blockchain, even in all the computing, the heat dissipation is a very huge problem. When you talk about huge heat dissipation, we are talking about how to cool this system. That is why AI grow much faster despite of financial in the northern part of the world because the system can be naturally cooled. So these are the some things that we have to ponder. For your question, can it be affordable? Yes, when we can find materials like those days, transistors were this big. Do you know that now we are just using, this is keyboard, right? This is keyboard. We just have a small button like this. But during those days, the panel was huge. People were standing to push the thing. And then if I can give you an example, if you can remember those days telephones, do you know the operator will pick up, yes, we want extension 4508. The operator have to pull one plug and put another plug in. This is how technology was 50 years ago. But just with the advancement of material, with the advancement of nanotechnology, you see, now it's on our hand and it's wireless. So for the question that you asked, there is a possibility, yes, but it takes some time, especially for ASEAN countries to reach. And then we can reduce, if we still want to do, there is another way of doing it. We can introduce green computing. So in computing, we also have known to have green computing, whereby we have we have certain time to operate this and then we reduce so that the carbon emission is low. When we have low carbon emission, we actually can apply to the I couldn't remember the organization name, but it comes under the United Nations, whereby these developed country pay their taxes. It's called carbon incentive, whereby the carbon can be traded and we can get money from income from that. So yes, it can be done in an affordable way, but we need to wait for the nanotechnology to because this is all interrelated. We cannot see only one side. You have to see from all global side. So it will take some time, but we will be there if God permits us with a long age. So I hope I have answered your question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you, Khalid. Thank you, Mr. Khalid. And the second question, tadi.
Second question from Mr. Priambodo, according to the explanation of artificial intelligence, like baby who cannot talk. The question is already as a big whether.
Or in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I got the question. Yes. All right. When I said AI was a baby, I mention it as a personal attachment to AI. I see AI as a baby. But this baby in Europe countries has been developed and it is no longer a baby. It's going to a toddler. It's going to primary schools already. But in Malaysia and Asian, I believe we are in the progress of making it. So we are still have a long way to go. We have started with the policies. We have started with the strategy. But before policy and strategy was in place, we are grateful to the government of Malaysia under the MOSTI, Malaysian of Science, Technology and Innovation. They have provided millions of grants for educators to explore, for SME, for other local companies to explore on the technology. And we also have one organization known as MIDEC, a Malaysian something digital development. That's the thing. So they have been embarking AI in the production of movies. I do not know whether you have remembered Upin and Ipin. There's a cartoon, Upin and Ipin. So it was funded by MIDEC, one of the digital initiative by the government of Malaysia. And we also have another one known as apa nama lah? MITI. I think it's MITI. Yes, MITI. Under the MITI, Malaysian Industry Trade something. So what MITI does is that MITI brings in technology from overseas. This is how we are creating the baby, actually. We bring in the technology from overseas, but we do it as a transfer program knowledge. That means when we are buying something, it's AI from them, from those countries, they are obliged to train some of our staff, some of Malaysian citizens on AI and these things. So this is how we are doing. And first and foremost, we need to upgrade the human resource knowledge. I believe the second session this evening with Dr. Haas, you will be learning more on knowledgeable workers and skilled workers. So this is how we are going, the Malaysian government strategize and goes all about it to my very best knowledge. So I hope I have answered that question.
I remember the cartoon from Malaysia, Bobo Boy.
Bobo Boy, yes. Bobo Boy also is under my Dex initiative. Betul, betul, Doctor. It's my favorite cartoon. Anyway, I still watch.
And okay. And the third question from Mr. Mukhtar Rifai.
Mr. Mokhtar.
He has a bit a longer question, but it's about the transformation in its era of the technology of artificial intelligence from the postmodern or from the oldest to the modern era, and then from multi-dimensional perspective, especially non-military side. How do you think about the cultural shift regarding the artificial intelligence implementation?
This is a very good question. This is a very good question and a very lengthy for a debatable thing. I think we should have a debate on this. Okay, let's start. During those days, computer was the basic AI. A computer which was so huge. I do not know whether you all have experience. I mean, I'm not that old. Of course, I'm still young. You can see, except for white hairs. But I managed to use this size disc. I mean, half of it lah. I don't know. Dr. Abu, did you manage to use such a big disc dulu? Computer? Floppy disk.
Floppy disk.
Yeah. Those days, we have floppy disk, this very huge size like this, muscle, and then we managed to get a smaller version, and then slowly we went to a bigger USB, and then now we have USB with a bigger tera gig and terabyte, and so AI is slowly changing from a basic computer to the computer that understands you. I do not know whether you have noticed or not, but the current computer that being upgraded by Microsoft in 10 Windows, did you notice the screen, if you are in a darker room, will bright up, and then you can press for a night light, and then if you are in a open area, the screen will go a little bit darker. If you haven't experienced this with your laptop, you have experienced this with your smartphones. That is for sure. So the era is changing very fast. And the question that he asked in the non-military, if you saw the first video in the beginning, let me give you an example. I believe this happens in Indonesia because it happens a lot in Malaysia, especially to me. Memang geram. Have you noticed that at night time when you are driving, you have reached to the traffic light of a red signal? You just spend 10 minutes, but at the junction, there's no car at all. You want to violate the traffic light, but you are scared that in front there will be a traffic police and you get a summon. Just imagine, with the artificial intelligence, it can actually real-time monitor how many cars are waiting at the junction. So it will decide to give the green light for which junction to go first, for whom to go first. And just imagine, an ambulance are coming and the traffic light haven't changed. Can the ambulance move? Definitely it cannot. But from the ambulance, a sensor can be sensed to the traffic light using the AI technology. The AI can read that the ambulance is coming, so it will rate all other junction. It will give green light 5 minutes prior to the ambulance reaching. So this actually can save somebody's life. So in non-military way, AI is going to transform the world. I do not know whether you have, somebody is going to ask. I'm waiting for this question. I do not know. Nobody asked, but I ask myself and you. Don't you think that AI is going to take over our job? So what is our job going to be? Have you ever thought that? So when I had this thought, I was thinking, oh, maybe what I can do is, I do not know whether you know, it's called EEG set, where you just hook up that machine and it will read all your brainwave. If you remember Dr. X from apa nama, what is that movie? There'll be Dr. X, X-Men. So there'll be Dr. X. So you just have such a equipment. It can read all your EEG signals. Just imagine, let's say I am Gordon Ramsay. And I'm not available to cook for you all the time. I can actually put the EEG. I can record all my brain activities, how the hand move and which, and I can create the recipe, and I can copyright my EEG as a patent, as a copyright. And anybody wants to buy my food, do not need to leave your house. You do not need to come to me. You just need to buy the robot that has been sold by the company with the patent of my EEG brain. So you just go to smartphone, you just press, I want to eat Gordon Ramsay Bologna spaghetti. You just press. And the EEG recording will come to the AI robot, and it will cook exactly as I am Gordon Ramsay. Have you ever thought this? Maybe this lecture, I can record it, and then maybe I'm away, but my robot will answer your question. My robot will do the presentation. In fact, it could have done, and I'll be just there to answer the doubts and so on. So basically, AI going to be part of our life, and definitely safety is the one that I'm worried about. Do you know Tesla car? Autonomous Tesla car is also AI. AI means it learns. Basically, the AI learns through IoT, Internet of Things, through the sensor. So when you put something with the sensor and you connect them to internet, it becomes Internet of Things. But when you hear the term like, wow, okay, but actually it's nothing. It's just simple. So just imagine life with IoTs, the autonomous car is driving and you are inside, somebody hacking into your system, it can cause, damage to human lives. So definitely ethics need to be debated. At the same time, the best is to have our personal, remember we have personal insurance, you have medical cards there, right? We have here in Malaysia. So just imagine we're going to have personal cyber security guard, like personal bodyguard, but this guy is through his computer, he is guarding you. So these are the jobs for the future. So I hope I have answered your question as well.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. I think you comprehensively answered our student question, but unfortunately, we have plenty of questions here.
Oh yes, come on, let's go.
But we have to manage the session. Morning session we have to be stopped at 11:50.
Oh, okay. What's the time now? I have no idea.
11:48. I think it's a lunch. In Indonesia, I think in Malaysia it's 12:49 now.
I'm so sorry, I lost track because we are talking about AI, something that, makes my heart to jump. You see how I'm talking?
If you don't mind, some of our students want to ask you directly, personally in the near future. Is that possible?
Oh yes, possible, because I've given my contact number on the slide. Is it? Can you see my number?
Yes, on your presentation slide. I just WhatsApp your phone number.
Oh, okay, Dr. Adi. I will definitely see and reply, because I was so worried to use the phone while presenting ethics. I'm so worried about the ethics, so I didn't see. Anyway, I also chat box my number the other in there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh. Actually, I might promise. I have to show you. Wait a second. Where is it?
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Oh, I cannot see all the windows. Oh, this one. Can you see this?
Oh yes. Oh, this is the strategy. Kerangka Nasional.
You have such kind of the document in Malaysia. if you have, and if that's possible to share, since
Yeah.
we have to want to.
I will look. I will look for you, Dr. Adi, and then I think I will share to you since you already have. Do you mind sharing this to me, Dr. Adi?
No worries, because it's available in public
On the net.
domain. Yeah, so you
Ah.
can download somewhere. But anyway, we have to stop this
Oh.
morning session. Otherwise, we'll continue and take over your lunchtime.
Okay, sure. I'm actually very grateful to have this session, and I'm asking from my humblest heart, my humble apology. Please accept. I'm a human being. If there anything that I didn't manage to clear your doubt, I hope they'll be given another chance, and I hope God will help to bless all of us to be safe and away from COVID-19, to be alive, to see the transformation of AI. It can be scary, but that what makes us human and be alive. And thank you so much for all of you. Please forgive for all my shortcomings. One moment, I need to cancel my student call.
Oh, you have a lunchtime call.
Yeah, that's why they thought it's lunchtime, so they're calling why they wanted to do something. Thank you so much. I'm so
Thank
sorry
you.
for any shortcomings. I hope the presentation is informational. More and so, I just wish to inspire all of us, because I notice AI is only being taught at the engineers level, Dr. Adi, if you agree, and also at the programmer level. But on the defense, on the management people, on the lame people, people are not seeing actually AI have its impact. So I wish I have inspired all of you. And Dr. Adi, you inspire me a lot. I wish to be in contact with you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. Please make and give applause to Mr. Suresh for his excellent presentation today. Applause. I think I don't need to make a conclusion for your presentation, because you just make the conclusion just before.
Thank you, Doctor.
And once again, I would like to give my great appreciation to the presenter for sharing the lecture, and also thank you for all participants to join this forum. Oh, Mr. Suresh, I have another pantun here for the closing. You forgot. You promised to make a one pantun for us, but you forgot.
I'm so sorry, Dr. Adi.
Our pantuns here, Indonesian version. Sarapan nasi lemak di Malaysia, sembari berjabat membawa ketupat. Berakhir sudah sesi kita, semoga dapat memberi manfaat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Adi.
Thank you. Next time you have to make some pantun for us.
Okay, I promise to do that.
Thank you for your attention, and have a good day, everyone. Miss Rifa, please take over my time.
Oh yeah, Miss Rifa, MC. Thank you.
Rifa, MC.
Yeah, I forgot her. Miss Rifa, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the moderator for guiding the session, and also thank you very much for Mr. Suresh for such an inspiring topics. And as a token of our appreciation for their time and valuable contribution for our speaker and our moderators today, I would like to invite the Vice Dean of Defense Management Faculty of Republic Indonesia Defense University, Air Force Marshal Anton Iman Santosa, to kindly present the certificate to Mr. Suresh Tanakwadi and Mr. Nugroho Adi Sasongko.
Thank you, sir.
Again, thank you very much to the speaker, Mr. Suresh Tanakwadi, for your excellent presentations and also your explanations during the question and answer session. Hopefully that all information that you give us is benefit for us. And also thank you very much for Dr. Nugroho for moderating the sessions. On behalf of the Faculty of Defense Management, Republic of Indonesia Defense University, I would like to award certificate of appreciation to the speaker and moderator. The first certificate is awarded to the speaker, Mr. Suresh Tanakwadi from National Defense University of Malaysia. Please accept our certificate, sir.
Thank you
And
so much.
applause to the Suresh Tanakodi. Thank you.
Thank
And the
you,
second certificate is awarded to the moderator, Dr. Nugroho, for moderating as a moderator the sessions. Please accept our certificate and give applause to the Dr. Nugroho. Again, thank you very much to the speaker, moderator, and all participants from the Indonesia Defense University and also UPNM on participating in the sessions. That's all for the session. Good afternoon. Thank you. See you next sessions in the afternoon. Thank you, Suresh and moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Devi Saraswati.
Thank you very much, sir. Before closing our session, please allow us to have a photo session for documentation of today's agenda. For all of the participants, please turn on your camera. And for all of the participants, please post Salam Bela Negara to the camera. On count of 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Salam
Once
Bela
more.
Negara.
Once more. 1, 2, and 3.
Salam Bela Negara.
Salam Bela Negara.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, we would like to thank the speaker who have given the knowledge and experience to all of us. May all of the knowledge we gain could be useful for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to an end of our first session of our today agenda, which roughly means please forgive us for our shortcomings. We would like to say thank you also for the entire contribution for this event. On behalf of the Republic Indonesia Defense University Overseas Study Committee, we would like to extend my sincere apologies if there's something unpleasant. We also would like to remind all of us that the second session will begin at 13:30 Indonesian time, and all of the participants must join the Zoom room 10 minutes before the session begins. And don't forget, always maintain health protocols by implementing the standard, wash your hands, wear your mask, and keep your distances. Till we meet again, may all of you have a good health. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om. Namo
Waalaikumsalam
Buddhaya
warahmatullahi
and
wabarakatuh.
salam bela
Again,
negara.
thank you, Suresh.
Thank you,
Thank
Doctor.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Pak.
Nugroho and all the students from Malaysia and Indonesia. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. So I'm leaving the presentation here. Thank you, Rifa. Thank you, Dr. Adi.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Suresh.
sir.
Thank you all participants. Rifa, if you can you, there are some questions that I'm unable to answer because of time. Maybe you can copy and email to me. I will try to answer to them.
Okay, so may I have your email
Address,
Yes.
Never mind. I will, actually it's at the slide, or maybe I can, I will type it here. In the chat box, yeah? Alright. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
I hope you all okay. Bye.
Bye. See you next
Hello,
time.
hello. Bye. It's like a singing angel's voice. Lapar, lapar.